Over the years, we've had the privilege and the honor to have very distinguished Nigerians give insights into answering the theme for this Father's Day lecture. We've also had the privilege of having very outstanding personalities grace this occasion. And today is not an exception. But permit me to begin by acknowledging the presence of our Chairman Managing Director, incidentally the chief host of this 29th Father's Day lecture. I'm talking about His Excellency Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Osawao Igbeneghu, CFR, CON, the Isama of Benin Kingdom. Isama Tope, Oba Tope, and the Isama. Our chief host is ably represented by one of his very illustrious sons, former Commissioner for Education, Edo State, former Chairman of the Northeast Local Government Council. Please put your hands together for the one and only Honorable Charles Igbeneghu. Give it a round of applause. Thank you for your presence. We also have in our midst our keynote speaker, a business tycoon, an administrator per excellence. Put your hands together for the former chairman, Government Council, former Pro-Chancellor, Ambrose Ali University, AAU Ekoma. That's my alma mater. Please put your hands together for Sir Chief Lawson Omobodo. Give it a round of applause. Appreciate him. We also have in our midst very distinguished Nigerians who are going to be giving more insights into the conversation today. In no particular order, I'd like to acknowledge very specially Professor Marcel Okago is the Pioneer Dean, Faculty of Communication and Media Studies, University of Benin. Please give him a round of applause. I also like to acknowledge in our midst a Nigerian UK trained consultant in obstetrics and gynecology, the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, Edo Diaspora Commission. Please put your hands together for Dr. Mrs. Loretta Oduwale Okorobo. Please give her a round of applause. We also have in our midst Dr. Victor Ohai, an investment banker, one of our panelists today. Give him a round of applause. We also have here the Honorable Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Edo State, the one and only Prince Kasim Afegwa. Please give him a round of applause. We also like to quickly acknowledge Right Honorable Bright Omohodio, former Speaker, Edo State House of Assembly. Please give him a round of applause. I'd like to acknowledge very, very specially an outstanding media professional and consultant. Put your hands together for the one and only Dr. Don Pedro Obasaki. Put your hands together for him. Incidentally, the elder brother of our Managing Director, Engineer Elvis Obasaki. We'd like to recognize very specially Madam Habiba Oyarewa, a member of the Management Board of Independent Television and Radio, and also a veteran broadcaster. Please give her a round of applause. Please kindly pay close attention to the screen. We have a very vital information to share to you and with you on the impact of ITV and radio. Control room, please.
A brief history of independent television and radio. Independent television started transmission on the 27th of March 1997 on Channel 22 with its slogan, "Certainly the Best." The zeal of the founding father, Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Usawa Ignijo, culminated in the approval and subsequent presentation of a license by the former head of state, General Ibrahim Babangida, on the 26th of June 1993. The radio arm came to life on the 10th of September 1998, christened the Heartbeat Station on 92.3 MHz FM. ITV Abuja started transmission on 1st September 2007, while ITV Lagos started transmission on 2nd September 2024, and in December 2009, ITV was granted license for digital satellite broadcasting to enable the station beam its television programs to viewers around the world. ITV can be viewed nationally on GoTV Channel 140, StarTimes Channel 130, and globally via our website on www.itvradioNG.com. Independent television, ITV, and radio has an extensive network of correspondents across more than 12 states in Nigeria, including Edo, Delta, Ekiti, Ondo, Ogun, Rivers, Anambra, Enugu, Abia, Kano, Kaduna, Kogi, and Bayelsa, ensuring timely, reliable, and comprehensive coverage. Our reach extends beyond Nigeria, with a dedicated correspondent in the United Kingdom and coverage across Europe, bringing you global perspectives with local relevance. Stay connected wherever you are by downloading the ITV 3-in-1 app on the Google Play Store. Enjoy seamless access to our news and engaging educational programs on both television and radio, anytime, anywhere. The mission of ITV is to enlighten the masses with accurate information, delight esteemed viewers with sensational programs content, and educate the populace with current trends in all spheres of human endeavor. The vision of ITV is to bring unbiased and unblemished information to the doorstep of every individual via terrestrial and satellite transmission. In appreciation of its impact, the station has won countless number of awards from different organizations across the country.
Ladies and gentlemen, I was hoping that we'll do better than that. At this moment, I want to humbly ask that we all rise to give the vision bearer, the man who saw tomorrow, the man who made it possible for you and I to be gathered here today. Please, let us rise to celebrate the 8th summer of Benin. Please, put your hands together for my father, Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Usawa Ignijo, who made it possible. ITV is ITV today because of that great man who saw tomorrow. I like to call him the vision bearer and the man who does not have impossibility in his dictionary. Thank you so much for joining me to celebrate such a great man. Thank you. You may be seated. All right, at this point, we'd like to hear from the man. I like to see him as the man who made a huge difference. He never sleeps. When you're talking to him, he's talking ITV. I wonder if he talks ITV with Madame in the other room too. You know, he does so much. And I dare say that he has brought out the best in me. I don't know about any other person, but he has brought out the best in me. Please join me to celebrate our digital MD, one and only, Engineer Elvis Agbonifo Obaseki. He's got a lot to talk to us about this morning. To the podium, sir. Please celebrate him until he gets here. This man was a slave. He carried ITV for head. No one himself. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you, Adesina. Good morning to you all. I will do my best to establish the protocol so that we can fly without having to go through that anymore. My dear Chairman Emeritus, His Excellency Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Osawa Emilio, CFR, CON, the Sama of Benin Kingdom, and the founder of this platform, ably represented this morning by one of his illustrious sons, Honorable Charles Emilio, our keynote speaker, the mentor, a role model, Chief Lawson, Sir Chief Lawson of Mogadon. Right Honorable Bright of Mogadon, the former Speaker of the District House of Assembly. Our dear panelists, heads of security agencies that we have in the House, my colleagues at management and ITV, my dear brother, who now is my father, my dear sister, who now is my mother, my colleagues in ITV, you know I always celebrate you guys. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, today I'm happy that my colleagues in ITV and the pressmen will do special recognition for you guys behind the camera. You know they always last in every event. Sometimes if there is not enough to eat, they end up not having anything to report. But for today, you will not scrape. I've just been told that Akada Plaza has added to our refreshment for the board. Please, that is not for the guests. It is with deep sense of humility and pleasure that I stand before you today on the occasion of the 29th Founders Day of Independent Television and Radio, a station born out of vision, courage, and an unshakable belief in the power of the media. 29 years ago, ITV began as one of the first private television stations in Nigeria, at a time when broadcasting was the exclusive preserve of government, even under military rule. Our dear founder, His Excellency Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Osawa Emilio, took a bold step to change the media landscape in Nigeria. I think he deserves a round of applause. ITV has grown into the most respected voice across the globe, the South, Nigeria, and beyond. The evolution has been tremendous, from analog to digital, from a single channel to a multi-platform, with an enviable presence in Benin City, Abuja, and Lagos, and on all social media handles. Today, we operate in the tough economic climate. Cost of energy, cost of equipment and operations have risen astronomically. Advertising budgets are shrinking annually, yet our commitment to the public has not reduced. Our staff continue to show uncommon dedication, while our audience continues to show uncommon loyalty. On behalf of this platform, I say thank you for every staff of ITV and to all our teaming audience, because they have kept us on air. With all sense of clarity, we are not relenting. We resolve with intentionality to be among the best, not just in the sub-region, not just in Nigeria, but among the best in Africa. We will continue to invest in manpower, training and retraining, in technology, and content acquisition. We will deepen our digital presence so that wherever you go in the world, you are sure to have ITV with you. We will uphold the ethics of journalism, truth, balance, and fairness. We will tell the Nigerian story with pride and accuracy. This has galvanized our resolve to, as part of our Founders' Day, and strengthen our impact in the Nigerian media space, we will continually instigate this discussion on Project Nigeria. And 4 years down the line, this question has remained on our lips. Who values Nigeria? Where are we going? In the year 2025, we set the stage for the discussion. When we have Mr. Emeka Abba, the former DG of the National Broadcasting Commission, and Professor Sonny Adamoyi, the former Vice Chancellor of the University AU, on the stage. And subsequently, we invited Mr. Mike Igini of INEC in the year 2024. While Senator Adams had his time on the same stage in the year 2025. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this year's discourse promises to be a most memorable outing as we unleash an unbeatable package. And in the ITV and radio project, we look to our 30th year and beyond as our future rests on 3 pillars: innovation, as embracing new platforms, AI tools, and an audience-driven programming. On the people, investing in our staff, the men and women who make the magic happen daily. And on partnership, working with our communities, government, businesses, and civil society to build a better Nigeria. In conclusion, our deepest appreciation goes to our keynote speaker, Sir Chief Lawson Omogodio, our panelists, Dr. Victor Ogai, Honorable Kazim Fekwa, Professor Marcel Orago, and our dear Amazon, Dr. Loretta Oboro. We thank you all most immensely for your invaluable time. I can't end this without giving thanks to our founder, the Isama opinion. I'll say to him this afternoon, we are alive and we are on air. Thank you for starting this journey. To our Deputy Chairman and Motivator-in-Chief, we say thank you and we say thank you. To my colleagues, the staff of ITV, past and present, thank you for keeping it alive. To our viewers and listeners, thank you for staying with us for 29 years. Ultimately, our profound thanks goes to our Creator, the Almighty God. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the best of ITV and radio is not behind us. It is ahead of us. I will round my speech off this morning by paying a very special tribute to some persons. We talked about the 27th of March, 1997, but some persons are in the hall that were there when the story, when the dream left the visionary stage, when the dream became a reality, when the dream became a project and we started counting. Please, I want those midwives to step out. All the pioneer staff of ITV, this is the moment for you to step out. The midwives, please, you want to give us a whole lot of honor by keeping the heart of God. Some of them are there for me. Some of them. I will tell you this. All of us in the room will have our best. Those that were born in the period when we entered the state most of all will have our birth certificates. Is there anybody in this room on whose birth certificate is the name of the midwife? We have the presence of our nurses. We have the presence of those whose hands were used to send out the first signal. Please let's give them a standing ovation. Thank you very much, and to God be the glory.
Thank you very much, Digital MD. Can we appreciate our MD and of course our pioneer staff members who have been there over the years and meanwhile nurtured ITV to where it is today, and they're still very, very much around. Let's put our hands together and appreciate it one more time. Thank you very much.
Where are we going? I'm asking this question to all of us now. Where are we going? Do we know where we are going? Do we know where we are going? Okay. Some say yes, others say no. It's all right, but this afternoon I promise you that our question will be answered. This gathering will not be complete until we hear from our Father, the man who saw tomorrow, the man who saw today and beyond 29 years ago. Ably represented here today by his son, Honorable Charles Igbeneghu. Please let's celebrate our Father. You're welcome. Let's celebrate him until he gets here. Praise our Lord Jesus, thing that I saw. Every day, we're so celebrating. Thank you. Mr. Aliman.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Charles from the East African Delivered by His Excellency, Chief Dr. Ibrahim Zawari Village, CFR, CON, Example Benin, General Emeritus of the Benin Television at the 29th Father's Day and 4th anniversary lecture held on April 2006. Your Excellency, Keynote Speaker, distinguished guests, members of the President Board, management and staff of ITV and radio, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all to the 29th Father's Day and 4th annual lecture of the Independent Radio and Television. Our actual Foundation Day is March 27. The date ITV first went on air in 1997. Though we have holding this lecture today, April 23rd, the spirit of that day remains. The theme of this year's lecture is post-time. Who but the most Nigeria, where are we going? It is a question everyone of us must answer. Our role at ITV is to provide facts, a platform, and clarity of our people to find that direction. For 29 years, through thick and thin, economic hardship, and regulatory challenges, ITV has stayed on air. That is because of our dedicated staff, our loyal audience, and by place of God Almighty. I thank the Industrial Board, management, and every members of staff, past and present. I thank our viewers and listeners for the support. I thank the government and the people of Edo State strong media and a strong society must work together. Looking back in time, I am proud of what we have built together over the past years. Let us protect it and let us do it. Thank you very much. God bless ITV Radio. God bless
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going straight. A major part of this 29th Founders Day lecture series. We'd like to invite our keynote speaker, is a former Pro-Chancellor, former Chairman Governing Council of Ambrose Ali University, AAU Ecuador, the best state university in Nigeria. Please put your hands together as I welcome off stage Sir Chief Lawson Omoholo. Keep clapping until he gets here. We can actually appreciate him by starting to usher him off stage for the keynote address. Keep clapping. Keep clapping. Keep clapping. While our guest speaker remains standing, we'll just read his citation. Sir Chief Lawson Omoholo, KSN, FRMC, MNRM, HCIB, an illustrious son of Edo State, was born on July 25, 1952. He is a graduate of the University of Lagos and Arizona State University, Tempe, United States. Chief Omoholo also attended the Small Business Management Development Program at the University of New England, Armidale, Australia. He was an executive director at All States Trust Bank and the managing director of Liberty Bank PLC. Chief Lawson Omoholo later joined Cornwall PLC as Group Sales Executive Director before venturing into entrepreneurship as Chairman, Resort Petroleum and Gas Limited. I thought you put your hands together for that. Among several other positions, Chief Omoholo was Pro-Chancellor and Chairman Council of Ambrose Ali University, AAU Ecuador, a Knight of St. Columba, and the Catholic Church. Chief Lawson Omoholo is also a fellow of the Institute of Management Consultants, Nigeria, member, Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, and member, Nigerian Institute of Management. Our keynote speaker is married to a lady, Chief Fumilayo Orishemeyi Omoholo, and they are blessed with children and grandchildren. Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I present to you our keynote speaker today, Sir Chief Lawson Omoholo. Can we give him a round of applause?
Please, don't be frightened. The paper is very short. I have 30 minutes. And, I will not waste your time. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I will align with the protocol already established by the Managing Director and Chief Executive of ITV and Radio, Engineer Wasik. I thank the management and staff of ITV for inviting me to deliver this keynote address on the 29th Founders Day and 4th Annual Leadership Lecture at the stage. I'm well aware of the positive strides ITV and radio have taken in this dynamic world of radio and television broadcasting. and commend the management for the forward push to reach the skies. As always, I join numerous admirers of the formidable personality, famously called the Summer of Benin, for the initiative taken 29 years ago that has added to the knowledge base of TV viewers in the Midwest zone of the country, the South-South region, and indeed all over Nigeria. ITV's broad-based distribution channels and the expansive nature of its live streams makes it one of the most dynamic private TV and radio stations in Nigeria. Thank you for giving us a choice in Benin. I wish for the celebration of its ruby anniversary in another decade to come. The theme of this discussion is Nigeria. In English, we call it cowardice. In the other language, in Latin, we call it cowardice. It's a Latin expression meaning what it says, where are we going? It is tempting to give a quick answer nowhere. Our journey has been slow, but cumulatively we are making progress. No doubt mistakes have been made with the combative political environment. You would have wanted me to talk PDP, APC, Labour, and all the others, while one is being disturbed by the INEC, and while the Supreme Court is not saying what it should say. No, I'm not a politician. And so I will not delve into that. But they all form of great discussions. I have opted to address an economic subject matter titled The Paradox of Privatization and Unemployment in Contemporary Nigerian Economy. I want to tell you something. I want to tell you why our children who are away, they don't want to come out. I also want to tell you, our children, some of them who are still here, they want to go, except we do something. And this paper contains what we should do. And I'm happy we have youths here. It excites me when youths are in the audience where I am present. I will go on from here. At independence and up to 1986, the Nigerian economic space was dominated by 4 distinct entities. One, the government, through the public enterprises. The second, foreign investors. The third, with big businessmen in Nigeria. Big businessmen. Why the fourth? Just petty traders and small and medium-sized enterprises. But 2, the foreign companies and governments operated side by side. Operating in Nigeria at the time were hundreds of foreign-owned companies, including UAC, Leventis, UTC, Standard Bank, Barclays, PZ, Nestle, Liver Brothers, and so many. These companies drew staff from Europe and repatriated their ideas in foreign exchange. And saw Nigeria as a producer of raw materials. But alongside these companies were very many all over Nigeria, and they were doing very well. Alongside these companies were public enterprises. Public enterprises are state-owned companies, like Nigeria Mining Company, the Cocoa Board of Nigeria, Nigeria Airways, Pujo Automobile, Volkswagen, Inland Steel Rolling Mills, Motor Assembly Plants, River-based environment authorities, commodity boards, NAFCO, Delta Steel Company, Nigerian National Shipping Line, Newsprint Manufacturing Company, aluminum smelting company, and thousands of others. There were companies like this at state and federal levels. When you have companies like this, then you have employment. People are doing jobs, salaries are paid, and life is renewed every month when salaries are paid. Then, in 1996, something dramatic happened. I'm sorry, in 1986, something dramatic happened. What was the drama? Nigeria in 1982 ran into stormy economic waters. Huge earnings that came as a result of crude oil sales. The Gulf War crisis, the Arab-Israeli war, gave the feeling to the oil markets and we made so much. The government did not waste it. The federal and state governments did not waste it. They invested in public enterprises, set up all these companies, all these laboratories across the country. But in 1982, when the crisis came, Mona Shemshaka immediately set up what they call the Economic Stabilization Act. He managed and managed because debts were being accumulated, debt was supposed to be paid, salaries were being owed, and there were financial problems. We could not even service our loans. So what now happened? He needed some money. But he went to the IMF. He did not conclude it. There was government change in 1983. Babangida came. Buhari came. The former Babangida. He struggled to put it through counter trade. Then Babangida came. Now went to the IMF. He went to the IMF for $2.5 billion. The IMF gave Nigeria $1 billion. There were conditions. This is where the problem came from. These conditions, I will just talk about five or six of them. That there must be currency devaluation. Many of you already know this. I will take you back, then we'll move forward. Trade liberalization, removal of price controls, elimination of government subsidies, reduction of government spending, streamlining of public sector employment, promotion of private sector growth, and privatization of state-owned companies. This is the origin of privatization in Nigeria. You know, why did IMF ask us to privatize? IMF said, IMF, International Monetary Fund, they normally team up with the World Bank. They are called the Bretton Woods. IMF said that government had over-invested in public enterprise. IMF said there was a need to eliminate complex industrial enterprises from the control of government. It mentioned that Nigeria did not have the skills or executive capacity to run the enterprises they set up. That the public enterprises were corrupt, that they were loss-making, and that the private sector would buy up the enterprises, reorganize them, and make them better. And that in the process, more workers will be employed in the better managed private enterprises. How did we fail? That is where we are. But many people do not, many governments that came after the independence era and those years of General Yakubu did not know how Nigeria managed to create an environment of prosperity. They did not know. They did not know that with IMF coming, a lot of things were going on. Let me take you back again. In 1946, in the period of 1946 to 1956, the colonial government set up a 10-year development plan to solve the problems created by World War Just sorry. My apologies for the break. There was a 10-year plan for development and welfare. Then, post-independence Nigeria started with the first national development plan, 1962 to 1968. There was a second national development plan, 1970 to 1974. There was a third national development plan, 75 to 1980. And there was a fourth national development plan, 1981 to 1985. There was order in the goods of Nigeria. That was the era when dollar, the US dollar, was 75 to 1 naira. 75 copper to $1. That was what it was, the eve of privatization of the structural adjustment. Side by side with this development planning, the IMF made a statement that once we take the structural adjustment loan of $1 billion, we must stop the 5-yearly national development plan. And that we should not be doing perspective planning. Perspective planning is called rolling plans that no commitment was made. And that was what has happened. You also remember in 1972 and 1977, we had the indigenization decrease. Indigenization brought the economy from the hands of the foreign companies into the hands of Nigerians. Nigerians bought in 72 into 40% of shares of those foreign enterprises. By 1977, they were able to get the opportunity to buy 60%, and sometimes one as much as they wanted. The two decrees gave us the latitude to call the Nigerian economy an economy of Nigerians, not the economy of Europe and America. The combined effects of the plans and decrees increased Nigerian ownership, job creation, and expanded indigenous executive participation at management levels. Government also brought into many of these companies, such as Union Bank. Union Bank was Barclays Bank. When government bought into it, it became Union Bank. First Bank, International Bank for West Africa became Africa when government bought into it. First Bank was Standard Bank. When government bought into it, changed it to Standard Bank to First Bank, and so on and so forth. It is on record that in the years covering 1960 to 1982, cases of graduate unemployment did not exist in Nigeria. And even up to 1979. However, the foreign companies and governments were unhappy over the indigenization exercise that Nigeria did, because their companies have been taken away from them as owners. It was virtually partially nationalized. That's what took place. So the IMF now decreed privatization. Prior to the implementation of the privatization of social adjustment program, the working population was largely in paid employment. In the age group of 15 to 50, constituting the active labor force in Nigeria, finding a job was easy. In fact, as I mentioned, from 1966 to 1976, there was no graduate unemployment in Nigeria, and from 1977 through to 1979 to 1985, indeed, the availability of jobs was for the asking. When these companies, the state, the federal, companies at the state levels, companies at the federal level, when they were privatized, a Bureau for Public Enterprises was set up in the federal level. That bureau gave a report in 2021. Let me read the report. Just an extract of the report. In this report on July 12, 2021, the Director General of Bureau of Public Enterprises announced that between the years 1989 and 2020, a total of 234 public enterprises were privatized, and the federal government realized a sum of 1 trillion naira from privatization. Where did the money go? How many enterprises were set up thereafter? Not one. But as you privatize jobs, the affected privatized sectors in agriculture, 32 companies, banking and finance, 31, cement, 15, energy, construction and services, 14, hotels, 13, paper and packaging, 4, sugar companies, for 1, notable enterprises like the mining company, the cocoa, like the railways, PAN, Volkswagen Nigeria, now all who are mentioned earlier were all privatized. When they were privatized, joblessness visited Nigeria. Both Grammys and non-Grammys had no place to work anymore. And that is where we are. Yet, privatization was touted as a solution to our economic problems. And that is where our paradox came from. What was thought to be a solution turned around to become a massive problem. Privatization today is a problem. This is how the employment of Nigerian youth developed into a monstrosity. The full revenge which they have taken is now staring on the first. But there is a complication. By the IMF debate, please, those who can reach government, you need to remind them. By the IMF debate, under SAP, only the public enterprises that were in operation in 1986 were supposed to be privatized. The SAP was a 3-year program, September 86 to September 89. But how come Nigeria is still implementing the privatization agenda 40 years after? If indeed the enterprises identified by the IMF in 1986 were categorized and identified by them, so there was no possibility that future and unknown public enterprises could have been part of the IMF privatization network or framework. Nigeria, it therefore means that neither the IMF nor the World Bank forbade Nigeria from setting up public enterprises to boost its economy, grow its GDP, and provide jobs for its people. But maybe body language was used to tell Nigeria, don't touch this place. The Nigerian government has wallowed in ignorance for 40 years. As a professional who has gone through both the public and private sector, I make bold to tell you all that the private sector alone cannot successfully develop. In the First Republic and up to 1986, being years of the first 5 military dictatorship in Nigeria, public enterprises coexisted with the private sector to develop Nigeria. As of 2021, Nigeria suffered a joblessness rate of 33%. That rate is now 4.3%. The joblessness rate at the time had about 4 million Nigerians unemployed before SAP. But when today, 2026, we measure the unemployment rate at 4.6%. We actually now have about 80 million Nigerians jobless. 80 million Nigerians jobless. If you ask me, how come the unemployment rate is low and there are more Nigerians? They changed the method of calculating unemployment. It was from the ILO, the International Labour Organization, and the National Bureau of Statistics to it. They added underemployed people with the fully employed people and called them employed. They are supposed to do 40 hours a week to be classified as full time. But if you now do 30 minutes, 1 hour a week, the government says you are employed. Public enterprise to the rescue. The Nigerian Constitution recognizes the need for a balanced development and mandates both public and private enterprises to operate in the economy. Public enterprises can be of 4 different classes: statutory corporations, companies under the CAC, companies with government minority participation, and companies with majority government participation. In Chapter 2, in Article 16, Sections 1 to 4, gives you this description in the Constitution. How the public sector should work side by side with the private sector. Some examples. The people tell us in government today that government has no business in business. Even those selfish private sector participants who want to take more and more of government enterprises tell you government has no business. But the private sector cannot do more government. Public enterprises build companies and economies of Europe, of Asia, of Brazil, the old industrial Yugoslavia, of China, Argentina, Latin American countries. In prosperity, most of those enterprises are public enterprises. The aviation sector governments take a lot of interest in taking shares in the aviation sector. British Airways, Qatar, Etihad, many of those companies now public sector companies. You know, Embraer, the company that does that manufactures that aircraft, is owned by public enterprise.
There's a company that has done very well called Nigerian Unified National Gas. It is owned by Nigeria and 4 companies from Europe: Shell, Total, and Eni plus NMC. They own Nigerian energy and they have done extremely well. Public enterprise, what are the benefits? The impact on Nigeria, on the economy is very significant. They drive infrastructure, provide an organized environment for planning and execution of the plans already drawn up, are able to maintain control over key sectors. These are essential in services like electricity, water, and transportation. In other enterprises, they generate revenue for government through dividends and taxes and provide decent jobs. There's a new initiative in Africa called ACTA. ACTA is called African Continental Free Trade Agreement. If we will dominate ACTA and contribute to the economy of Nigeria, public enterprises need to be generated so that we can penetrate ACTA. Each market is 1.4 billion people and is expected to turn into a $7 billion market by 2035. In mining, public enterprises are mining. If you imagine the crisis in the mining sector all over Nigeria, it is because public enterprises, government is not in mining. It has been left to public enterprise, the private sector. I want to leave a broad rush to the private sector, you will get a disaster. So that is why many of these things are poor. There are 44 such mining. There are 44 such mines in Nigeria. Even in our state, Edo State, we have about 12 of such mines. When I say mines, mineral resources. There are 44 in Nigeria, there are 12 also in Edo State. But it's all been left to the private sector. When you have a gold rush, there's murder, there's crisis, people fight, blood is shed, and there's total confusion. So we need government at state, local governments, federal government to partner with foreign partners, to partner with Nigerians in diaspora, to partner with Nigerians, wealthy Nigerians, and to partner with foreign governments in mining, so that the benefits of those mineral resources can come to Nigeria, like oil does. Right now, we get so much money. We started the disaster in the NFPC and the oil industry in Nigeria. A lot of money is still come from it. But if you do not organize or control mining, there will be crisis, there will be insecurity, and there will be no money. In conclusion, no outsider can build Nigeria. It is the Nigerians, both the leaders and the led, who will build Nigeria. We have all the ingredients to create jobs, but our poor thinking to drive our educated youth. It is sad that our young ones who are escaped from our country go to foreign lands to work in enterprises owned wholly or partially by governments in this country. As of today, funds that have been used to set up businesses at state levels are ending up in many pockets of some state governors as security votes. And at the end of each morning salary allocation, huge other holdings are acquired at the parallel market. Also, some huge funds at the federal government level are being used to award overinflated contracts and to pay off agencies of governments who are required to be the agent of this power. Still, these governments and these federal government officials mount the same. Government has no business in billions of naira being embezzled by these people can create jobs for states and give value to their employed citizens. Thanks to the available state government for Imo and Enugu state government for Enugu F. These are both statements that may derive the return, both return, fearless return to public enterprises. Many more can be built all over the landscape of Nigeria, as we had before the IMF. Present state governments must relearn the industrial development lessons taught by their iconic Samuel Nuri. Sam Baku, Abu Baku, Habakiyara, Ibrahim Johnson, the family, usually elsewhere, and that man is how it starts called Wonders. Besides, they will be setting up companies and Nigerians will employ productively and produce goods and services. I need the audience to envision a day the subordinates of the foreign government areas and the assistants for the federal government will undertake to set up one business entity, wholly or partially owned, semi-annually, with appropriate safeguards on transparency and accountability, and each employing a minimum of 15 staff. Just one that just to explain. It is not the result to be moved. I want to conclude. I don't want to misunderstand. The private sector is a very useful arm of our capacity for senior years. And the sector will be encouraged and supported by government agencies. But the private sector should work side by side with public enterprises and individuals enterprises. My answer to the question provides is let's clear the path to economic prosperity. Thank you very much. to our keynote speaker, Thank you very much, sir. We'd like to invite the representative of our chairman emeritus on Charles Canadian to please come on stage to make a presentation to our keynote speaker.
Such with compliment of ITV and radio.
He is also the current Honorable Commissioner for Information and Strategy
amazing children. Please put your hands together. You're welcome.
Please appreciate our panelists. The third panelist is Marcel Ayaye Okaku, PhD, the Professor of Broadcasting in the Faculty of Communication and Media Studies at the University of Benin. He holds a PhD with specialization in broadcasting from the University of Benin. Professor Okaku currently serves, this way, sir, this way, currently serves as the Dean of the Faculty of Communication and Media Studies, University of Benin. He has stood at the Franklin College, Franklin, Indiana, Ball State University, Muncie, Indiana, and Worcester State University, Worcester, Massachusetts, all in the United States of America. He's also worked briefly at York University, Toronto, Canada. Professor Marcel Okaku is a member of African Council for Communication Education, ACCE, Association of Media and Communication Research Scholars of Nigeria, AMCRO, Association of Communication Scholars and Professionals of Nigeria, Society of Nigerian Theatre Artists, SONTA, Nigerian Academy of Letters now, as the current chairman, West African Association of Commonwealth Literature and Language Studies. Please give him a round of applause. And to help us make sense of this panelist discussion, join me as I welcome the uncle, Dr. Victor Oha. Dr. Victor Oha is an investment banker, filmmaker, media consultant, and global policy analyst. He holds a BA in mass communication, MSc in marketing, public relations, and PhD in business leadership from the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. Dr. Oha is a fellow, international expert consultant UK, fellow, certified international professional manager UK, an associate advertising practitioner council of Nigeria, a former president of the Directors Guild of Nigeria. Dr. Oha has at various times worked with the BBC, CNN, Al Jazeera, and reported for the Los Angeles Times. He is currently Senior Vice President, Diaspora Capital Advisors LLC, and Actors Lecturer, University of South Africa, the Private School of Business Leadership. He was in 2019 Nigerian presidential candidate and international keynote speaker on leadership, strategy, freedom, and innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for our panelists, particularly the uncle, His Excellency, Ambassador Dr. Victor Oha. So let's give them a round of applause one more time. So we'll leave the stage for the uncle and the panelists. Over to you, Ambassador Oha.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to ask Ambassador privately how much time we have. The organizers, how much have we have? An hour? Okay. Our time starts now. Thank you very much. I recognize all the protocols that have been established before now. And I want to particularly thank erudite keynote speaker for setting the tone for the conversation today and taking us through the historical journey of Nigeria's economic, I don't know how to put it now, but yeah. And so what we're going to be doing in this panel is looking at this in the paper, very important, and as I take us through a historical journey. More importantly, like the keynote speaker said, it's not about politics, but we're going to be setting the tone and direction for Nigeria. We're going to be setting an agenda for which way Nigeria There's one thing that is missing here today, and I hope that the MD will take note of this. So don't vote from this state. Which way Nigeria? If we're going to talk about who one of us, it's important, I think, to say that. No, thank you very much. So, the keynote speaker started, as I said, by taking us through a historical journey. And he started by talking on the paradox of privatization and unemployment, and identified the various sectors: government, public enterprises, foreign companies, SMEs, and big business. And in the journey he took us back and forth, we looked at the oil glut of the early 70s that governments couldn't manage. The mismanagement obviously led us to the problems we had during the Shagari administration, and then subsequently during the ITV era with the introduction of SAR, where we started borrowing, and then subsequently to the privatization of state enterprises, which I would say is on trial here today. I was going to see whether there is wisdom in that or not, on which way forward. I wasn't born listening to the papers, but I want to start by, there's some areas we're going to be looking at, and I'm going to be dwelling on the strength of our panelists here. And I'd like to start with Professor Okafor. You've listened to the keynote speaker, and I remember sitting there with you. And I'd like to ask you a direct question. And that question is, he has said something. He's trying to bring us back, pointing to the future and looking backwards. He's saying to us that perhaps one of the biggest mistakes we have made is moving away from public enterprise to privatization. So the question is, do you agree with me? I'd like to get your opinion on that.
Thank you very much, Dr. Okai. I would not say yes, I agree, or no, I disagree. Rather, I would say that it's a matter that's unfolding in our very presence and something that we should be dealing with. It is true that the beginning of the Nigerian state was predicated essentially on public corporations and management. Nobody thought of anything different because we began with an El Dorado tradition. But over time we found that El Dorado was not sustainable. I mean, by way of digression, we know that a certain head of state in Nigeria went here, and the reception was held in Ivory Coast. It was not that it was not possible to have the reception in Nigeria, but we have so much money that you could ferry people across from Nigeria to Ivory Coast. Because we were not thinking at the time, and because we were, troubled by the opulence of the noble. Now we are faced with brass tacks. The problem is confronting us right in the face and on all fours. And we're asking the question, should privatization have intervened to create the cushion and buffer for the Nigerian state? Yes, but privatization that is anchored on truth, anchored on principle, and anchored on progress. If when we privatize, we were not thinking selfishly, we probably would have made some exit. I mean, I'm sure this audience will remember the Atiku Abubakar
BPE. And what that committee, under the watch of Obasanjo, did privatization. At that point, yes, it was thought that it was the best thing to do. Those who live in government houses, pay a token for your houses and own them, so that you don't begin to draw on government resources. But that's not what happened. We are privy to the things that have happened. We have not been truthful to ourselves. Today we are talking about PFAs. And if Nigerians actually know, the workforce actually knows what the PFAs have done to us, then we will be up in arms. And why do I say this? In the time past, if you work for government, you look forward to gratuity and to pension. That is not there anymore. Your gratuity has been wiped off since 2005, and your pension is what my people call what does that mean? You don't need the veterinary fruit. When you put that fruit in your mouth, unless you generate your sputum to create a sweet part of that fruit, you don't get to enjoy it. So it is your sputum that makes you enjoy the veterinary. That's what we are doing with the PFA right now. And this is a policy that was supposed to have helped all of us. But I think that, to go back to your question of what then, there are several visitors to the argument, and I hope that we can tease them out as this conversation continues. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Doctor, I'd like to say, you're in the medical field, amongst other things. I heard the part about law. So, there are social enterprises. I mean, you have the regular businesses and all of that. The issue of privatization, I'd like you to examine the impact on social enterprises, the medical field, for instance. I'd like to put education in that box as well as even housing and things like that. So how would you, I want you to assess the impact of privatization, for instance, on social enterprises, and how they can work side by side successfully.
Thank you very much. I want to say a very big congratulations to Independent Radio and Television Services and to the visionary and founder of the organization. And before I even start answering your question, my brother, I want to say what we are enjoying and celebrating today is a hybrid of how private sector and public sector can actually coexist to create quality for human life. You just asked how privatization can actually go side by side with the public sector or public enterprises. In countries and other climes today, different models work. However, we must understand that as Nigerians, and in Nigeria, I want to go for what our erudite scholar said, the keynote speaker. No outsider can build Nigeria. It is Nigerians, both the leaders and those that are led, that can build Nigeria. Thank you for those words, sir. And leveraging on those words, I want to say today that we must therefore domesticate our own approach to the Nigerian problem. We cannot import. From the lecture, we can see that IMF recommended, and we